Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to AriesEDC. I am heading out to the shop because I have another busy day planned. So the last time we left off on the knife builds, I was just finishing up getting them heat treated and started to clean them up. And I am about to do my live stream in about 45 minutes. I'm going to start my live stream. If you guys haven't ever caught one of my live streams, I do these live streams from the shop where I'm just kind of working on the projects that I'm working on. And it's awesome. But I am hand sanding these blades that I am working on. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go back because you were 3 videos in. So you probably should go back and watch these, but we are finishing up on the July builds already. We have heat treated 4 of the 6 80 and the 80 CRV2 blades, which is what I have in my hand. This is a Bloom harpoon, which has been heat treated. And on the last video, we cleaned up the edges and some of the jimping and did that. But now we need to hand sand the flats so we can get them nice and cleaned up like this. I've already done the yoke dough, but I still have to do the other 3. So this is the yoke dough, and we have the 2 bush hawks and the Bloom harpoon, which I just held up. We have those 3 to do, and I'm going to do them during the live stream because I have something to do. And then when we're done with that, I got to put the maker's mark on it, etc., which are all things that I have shared in the past on the channel on how I do things. So we'll get caught up, but we're going to see how far the live stream goes, and then we'll continue this video after the live stream. But it's time to get that set up and to get to work. Well, all right, guys, it was a very successful live stream. I got all of them hand sanded out and looking good. You've already seen the yoke dough, but here are the bush hawks looking, both of them are looking good, and the Bloom harpoon, which I have already etched the maker's mark on. This is the next step I have to do on each of these. I'm holding the camera because I have all the stencils all printed out. I've been through all of this before, but I have, sorry about the mess, but I have this Brother P-Touch printer, label printer, and I have a stencil label in there. And that prints these nice stencils that I can pretty much do whatever I want. So the Bloom harpoon gets my maker's mark, same for all the other ones, but the yoke dough gets a yoke dough maker's mark, and the TB for Tim B, who's the co-designer of the bush hawk, he gets that put on all the bush hawks as well. So I need to etch all the maker's marks on these. Now, what I want to kind of show you guys, I have shown the process of how I do the maker's mark using my Elenco Precisions machine and salt water, etc., to do the maker's mark. But I want to share with you what happens afterwards, because I can't just put that on there and let it go. It can rust, and there's a lot of different things that happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start etching these, and we'll talk a little bit about how I clean that up once it's there. All right, guys, so I just etched that onto the blade, and you're dealing with salt water on a corrosive steel, so that can mess up the steel. So I need to neutralize everything. So I use the Windex. It has ammonia in it, and I can spray that off. You can use sodium bicarbonate as well, and I spray that down, and that neutralizes any of that. And then we'll give it a good wipe, but you'll see that where the maker's mark is kind of looks a little funky. So I have 2 options. I could polish it on the polishing wheel, or I can just hand sand that out, and I'm just going to do hand sanding since we're here, and I'll just throw this into my jig and show you guys how I kind of finish that off. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's already starting to show where the salt water was, and when I spray that, it does have a reaction that, you know, neutralizes the acid, but I need to clean up that etch just a little bit. So it has built up material in it. So literally I just take whatever sandpaper I finished up on and I just do a couple strokes on the blade, just like I did when I finished hand sanding, just keeping it one direction the whole time. And now that maker's mark is coming out much cleaner. So I'll show you guys. So now that maker's mark, come over here, zoom in on it, you can see now the maker's mark is nice and clean, and it doesn't have all the extra residue on it. So just a couple extra strokes. Again, I finished on 600 grit sandpaper, so that's exactly what I'm using with my little hand sanding jig here. And then that gives me that nice clean maker's mark. So that's kind of what I do, and maybe I'll finish it off on the polishing wheel just to make it perfect, but there it is. I have 5 more to do, so I better go get to work. All right, guys, I got all of the etching done. This is the Tim Boucher low maker's mark for Tim B. So all the hawks come with that because he is a co-designer of that. So let me wipe that off. These are now all etched. So my maker's mark and that maker's mark. And let's bring you guys over here so you guys can see this. All right, so both of them got everything in. So got those two looking good. The Loom Harpoon obviously only has my maker's mark on it, and the Yokto gets my maker's mark and the Yokto maker's mark. So these are all looking pretty stinking good. And I am excited to say we can start looking at maybe doing handles. I would like to start getting the handles somewhat cut out. I just don't have all the material here. And I want to do that before I start putting these blades into the final touch, which is 3, let's see. These 3 are getting tumbled, so they're going to be tumbled. And this one is going to be acid etched and tumbled. And I would like to get at least the handle material roughly cut out and shaped and almost ready for glue up before I do the final touch on these, because I gotta drill the holes and I gotta do all that stuff, and I don't want to mess up the finish on the blades before I go to glue them up. I hope this fan has not been a problem. But that is kind of what's going on, guys. So I have to wait for the handle material. I'm supposed to get it in today and tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow I can come back out and hit these and start getting the handle material cut and roughly shaped, and then we can start tumbling these. These 3, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to tumble 2 at a time, so I'm only going to do these 2, and I'm going to tumble them for 10 minutes instead of 20, and I want to see what that looks like. The last batch I did with tumbling, I think I over tumbled it and it didn't, kind of took away from the finish, so I'm going to do a light tumble this time and see what those look like, and then I'll add this one in there and see if that one works, and then we have to acid etch, so on and so forth. So I'm going to be done talking now, and we'll come back. Hopefully we'll have handle material. All right, guys, let's talk handle materials. We've been getting handle materials in, and so I want to show off what we are doing. So the Yokto, let's start here because that's going to be the biggest project. We are going to be doing a mixed piece construction on the Yokto. We are doing a nice desert ironwood. So we got this nice desert ironwood that came in. Don't worry about the marks. I put those there. And we're gonna have an inlay of this. And this is the True Stone Arizona Jade True Stone. So that is going to be an inlay on both sides of the handle. And we're gonna wrap it in some black and white G10 with a black G10 liner. I think just a black liner, then, you know, the little pops of white and black on either side of the jade is gonna look pretty cool. And we're gonna do the brass pins because that brass looks awesome with the wood and this jade True Stone material. So the Yocto is going to have a mixed piece material. So basically that's going to be the biggest job because I have to build the scales first. So I have to cut all this material, piece it all together, and glue it up to make a scale. I hope that makes sense. Then I can start putting it to the knife. So this one is going to be a project. The harpoon bloom harpoon is getting this royal blue kieranite, which is pretty cool. So I think I picked out some nice movement in here. So that's where I need to start cutting all of that out and getting that prepped. And it's getting the yellow pin and tube, which always looks good with that. And then we have the two bush hawks. The first bush hawk is getting the black micarta with the red liners and red pins and red tubes, which I better get those out. Let's see, we have a red tube and red pins. Haha, I'm ready. Look at me set up and ready. And then, oh God, the last one is going to be the purple haze kieranite. So I just got this in, actually I just opened it a few seconds ago. So I'm gonna have to come up with a nice area on this to build the scale. I kind of like all the movement here, so maybe I'll put that in the scale like that. Yep, that would look cool. And then we'll flip it on the other side. And this is getting I'm just gonna do black pins on this one, but this is getting a really cool liner material. This is getting a glow in the dark purple liner. I'm still waiting for that to come in. So this one's kind of on hold until I can get that done. It's also getting acid etched and tumbled. So I might be able to acid etch and tumble this while I'm waiting for all the handle material to come in. But as of right now, this one is kind of on hold and I need to start working on these. These two are fairly easy. This one is the easiest because there's no liner, so I literally drill the holes and I'm ready to go. This one is a lot of work, so I'm gonna have a lot of cutting all this material out to roughly shaped and then start shaping it all up. The other knives, the gargoyle is going to be getting this True Blood kieranite, which is very attractive and turns out looking really, really good. I don't think these are matched. I don't think this is match booked. No, I don't think it is match booked. Nope, it's not match booked, but it's going to look really, really nice. This stuff has some really cool movement. I've done a couple knives in it before. And the bloom, the person wanted this jute micarta, and the only jute micarta I can get was really thick material. So this is 3/8, and it's hurting my brain because that is really thick. And they said that they're good. They like a nice thick handle, but I don't like a nice thick handle, and it's going to take a lot of shaping and a lot of removing of material when I do this. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to work that one, but I can also have time because this one is off at heat treat along with the gargoyle, so it'll be a while before those guys come back. Oh, also that gargoyle harpoon, I don't know, that one's on its way back and I should have that here in the next couple days. That person sent me this really nice poplar burl. I think it's poplar burl. They sent me this really cool material. What do you guys think of that? It's a wood, so yeah, that's gonna look pretty cool. So, and that's on the other gargoyle, which I don't mind a little thicker material on that one just because the handle is so much bigger. But that's what we got. So I need to start cutting all of this stuff up and measuring it all out and getting it to a good place for me to start shaping it up. So let's get to work. All right, guys, I got everything roughly cut out. The Bloom harpoon with the royal blue is going to be pretty straightforward. We have the yellow hardware matching the yellow in their scales, so that's going to look pretty cool. We have the black micarta and red on that bush hawk, and then obviously the one everybody's probably noticing is the yoke dough. So I decided I'm gonna do the black, white, then the jade. So these are just small little pieces of G10. We have black G10 and white G10, and I use those for just little liners and spacers. It kind of makes everything pop. So that's kind of what this is gonna look like, and I think with the brass hardware with this jade is going to look pretty stinking cool. So with this one, I still have to square everything off. All I did was cut it, so what I need to do is make sure all of the edges are completely squared off and flat because I have to glue all of this up. I hope that makes sense, because I have to glue all of this material up and create the scale, which is a ton of work just to get everything to the point where I can create a scale, and then I can do what I did here, which is just roughly cut it, and then we can drill the holes and start working forward from there. But I have to get a piece that is all lined up and even, because right now I don't know if these two jade pieces are exactly the same size, and everything has to line up absolutely perfect. So it's a lot of just removing material very slowly to try to get the perfect fit to create the scales. So it's a ton of work. I also, we have the other bush hawk here. I also went ahead and cut the scales, roughly scales for that one, but I can't move forward past that until I get all of that material in. So where are we? We are at the point now where I don't need these rounds for me to just start roughly cutting up to the lines on the grinder. So what I'm going to do now is it's time to do the etching and the tumbling on these blades. So these three that you see are all going to be tumbled. I'm going to do 2 at a time. So I'm going to throw 2 of them in for like 10, 15 minutes, maybe 12 minutes, and just see what it looks like. So I'm going to put them in the tumbler. I'm going to wait, and then we'll pull them out and we'll see what they look like. This other bush hawk, this one needs to get acid etched and tumbled. So I need to clean this off really well, get it perfectly clean, and then start the acid bath on this one. Again, ferric chloride and apple cider vinegar is what I use. And then once that's done, then I can throw that in the tumble to do that. So I'm going to neutralize it, and then we can throw that in a tumble, but I'll do that by itself. So while this is etching, I can tumble these 3. So I'll do like 2 at a time. Then I might do that one just by itself, just to see what it looks like. So let me go ahead, set all that up, and we can start all of these things. And then I'm going to hit the grinder and start slowly shaping these up a little bit more. Actually, you know what I should probably do before I do any of that is probably drill the holes on these 2. I'll drill the holes on these 2. This one, that's a whole nother ball game. All right, guys, quick update. First of all, okay, where do I start? So I started cutting out the material and getting that roughly shaped. I got the holes drilled.
and I got those roughly shaped for the Bloom harpoon and this bush hawk. I also squared up everything for the yoke dough, so I think besides just doing some drill holes down the middle of this material, just so everything kind of holds together, this is now ready to be glued up for the scales. Also, what do you think of that finish? The tumble came out pretty good, except for like right in the middle there. I don't know what happened. Like right in the middle, like that one just kind of didn't do anything right there in the middle. So I might throw that in for like another 5 minutes, just so to see if I can get that. But that looks pretty darn good. I like that. That was like 15 minutes, so maybe even less time. It still looks pretty darn good. What do you think of that? I think the tumbled finish looks pretty good. So we are now ready to glue up this, and I need to do the fronts of these, but I'm going to tumble this one. So I have the yoke dough. I still need to tumble that, and we'll throw this guy in for like 5 more minutes just to see if I can get that to blend in. That's so weird that everything else looked good except for that one little spot. I am also etching the other bush hawk. It's in the etch, and I'll be ready to pull that off here in a couple minutes. So let me throw these in the tumble, and I'll check back. All right. What do you guys think of that? Acid etched, tumbled, looking pretty good versus just the tumbled one. Yeah. All right, we are looking pretty darn good, making really great progress. So this one I have to kind of put on hold for just a little bit because, well, I don't have all the handle materials yet. So this one I'm going to clean up, polish this up a little bit, and then we are going to just wait for the handle material to come in, which is fine. We're definitely not in any kind of hurry. The black and red micarta I'm still working on. I just started doing the angled fronts on those and getting those done for this one. So that one is in the works too, and I fixed that one now. It kind of has more of a uniform tumble on it now, so that looks much better. So I'm pretty happy with that. Back here is really strange. I might have to just sand that out because this is all just going to get covered by a handle anyway. So it's kind of weird that it's doing that patina thing. I don't know where that came from, just the tumble, I guess. But I'll clean it up before we glue the handles on. But we are looking good with the handles on this one as well. The next step on this one is to angle the fronts like I did on that bush hawk. Also, this is almost ready as well. Like I said, I squared it all up. I want to cut this excess off here. And then on the underside of the scale, I like to drill some holes just to help, oh my goodness, just to help the glue adhere to the liner. Usually that helps, and now I messed that all up, so I'm gonna have to put it all back together again. But you guys are the best for hanging with me through all of this. But that is what I have for you on this video, guys. We are cranking. We are looking really stinking good. The two bush hawks are looking good. The Bloom harpoon. Oh, by the way, I tumbled the yoke dough as well. So now the yoke dough has a nice tumbled finish on it. So you can kind of see that. I know my lighting is horrible, but there you go. There's a nice tumbled finish on it. So that one is looking pretty darn good as well. So let me wipe that off. But I just pulled this one out and it's looking good. And I look forward to getting all of these done. So in the next couple days, I'll be able to have these all glued up and possibly even finished, but that will be on the next one. So thank you so much for watching and following along on the saga of the books builds. Thank you guys so much. Please remember, subscribe, like, leave a comment, or not. Again, the choice is always yours.